So Senator Josh Hawley made some interesting eyebrow-raising comments after the Republicans got shellacked in the election. Let's listen and then I'll break it down for everybody.
I think that this election was the funeral for the Republican Party as we know it. The Republican Party, as we have known it, is dead. And voters have made that clear. And in particular, the folks who did not vote for Republicans in this last election were independent voters, working class independent voters, folks who voted for President Obama once upon a time, folks who then voted for President Trump but stayed home this time. We are not a majority party unless we can appeal to those voters.
I mean, look, that's true, right? He gets it right. But here's what's interesting about this clip. Hawley was one of the more vocally pro-Trump members of the Senate. And there's a little bit of... So we'll get to this in a little bit. There's a coup attempt going on. They're trying to topple Mitch McConnell and make a Rick Scott the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. And Hawley has signed on to that. Hawley is pro-Rick Scott, or at the very least, anti-McConnell. And so Rick Scott is the hand-picked Trump wing leader. So for Hawley to come out here and say the Republican Party is dead as we know it, basically like it's time for change, this is crazy, we're losing the independents, we got to get them back, etc., etc. That sounds like what he's doing is criticizing Trump and the Trump wing, because it was Trump's candidates in particular who did the worst. But ultimately, I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's doing the opposite. I think he's more criticizing Mitch McConnell, and I think he's actually giving a total pass to Trump and the Trump types. I mean, the most kind interpretation of this is he's actually talking about both wings. He's talking about the McConnell wing, the more establishment wing, and the Trump wing. But I don't know, he has an angle, right? Like, these comments in a vacuum are true, but if you get him to go into the specifics more, he would probably say something like, the problem is Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney and those types, and it's time for a new Republican Party that's more pro-working class, which is why we need Donald Trump, and which is why we need Rick Scott as the leader of the Republicans. Well, Rick Scott did the worst Medicare fraud in history. The guy's a con artist. He was running on raising taxes on the bottom 50% of the country. He was running on cutting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. So what Hawley is saying is accurate, but he's got an angle. And I think there's a reason why he didn't elaborate. If he elaborated, it would have sort of exposed his hollow talking points for exactly what they were. It's easy to posture as anti-establishment and outsider and looking out for working class people and stating the facts, but the specifics are going to matter, right? The specifics of who he sides with in this coup attempt, and if he supports Trump's, run, or even if he supports DeSantis' run, because DeSantis is 94% of the time voted with Trump. So, like I said, interesting comments in a vacuum, but the specifics matter, and I think he's kind of hiding the specifics on purpose, because he's a politician who knows how to, plot his way around and play the game. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.